Well, it's supposed to get down to like 20 degrees tonight, which is kind of insane. It was 60 today. It's probably about middle 50s right now. But I wanted to fire up the air conditioners one last time of the year before, or at least the ones out here in the garage. I might do the ones inside the house at a later date. But got the piece of junk Frigidaire that does the upstairs of the garage. It's a 12,000 BTU. I have a vintage unit that's going to replace it eventually, but for the time being, this is here. This has a Daewoo rotary compressor in it, and I believe a Broad Ocean fan motor. I can't remember. No, it has a Daewoo compressor, which I thought was interesting. Which, I'm going to be honest, this compressor is actually pretty darn smooth. This unit does do a pretty good job. Gets down to cooling pretty quickly, but just very noisy. We'll turn it on high speed and then we'll go outside. The Frigidaire will probably eventually kick off or something. I have these fans here in the way of this unit, but this is the large 8,000 BTU GE made by Gree that does the downstairs of the garage somewhat. Oh. I can drop it all the way down. I have some box fans kind of in the way of it, which is probably not the best thing. But eventually this will kick on. This is one of these stupid R32 air conditioners. This air conditioner actually has a bit of an interesting smell to it when it sits for a while. We'll come back later and see if the compressor on it turns on or not. Here's the Frigidaire running. I'm not sure if this year I'll do winter starts where like I turn them on in like the middle of winter. I doubt it. Maybe this Frigidaire, just because I'll be curious to see how this thing sounds when it's cold. This one I don't know, probably not, because I don't want to damage any of the refrigerant. There definitely appears to be water sloshing around in it. The GE is over here, so I don't know. I think I hear its compressor. It's kind of hard to hear. That Frigidaire is so loud. If we walk around here, we might be able to actually hear it a bit better. No compressor yet. I don't know if it's going to be actually warm enough for the compressor to kick on. Appears like there was a moth inside of the filter. The coils look wet, so this thing still does have a full charge. It just sounds really bad. Oh dear, I forgot the grill on this thing is all just knackered. Now I'm standing in front of it. Oh, let's go check on the downstairs unit. Still hear a bit of refrigerant in there. This is a R22 unit, by the way. Well, this unit just cycled off on its energy saver. So I'm going to move these fans and attempt to heat up the thermocouple with my finger and see if that turns on. Lowest it goes is 64, and it just happens to be 63 in here. Here's the thermocouple, which I'll start to heat up with my hand. I'm going to see if my hand can get it up to 80. If it does, I'll go outside. don't know why this thing's rattling. It must not like the cold. This thing typically doesn't rattle. Nice and cold though. Like late summer, like shortly after I did install this. Sadly, like I installed this air conditioner as soon as it started to actually get cold outside, and I didn't really need an air conditioner for the downstairs anymore. This thing was really nice because this thing, it was a lot better than the 4000 BTU Climatrol I had here before, and it could actually keep up with the temperature. So that was really nice. And it was also like way quieter than the Climatrol. That old Kenmore might go in if it's efficient enough. Even though it is a 5K, I just kind of want to use an older unit. Kind of curious to see what that one can do. There appears to be a bird. I think 82 should be nice enough. Let's go have a look at the outside, and if it is warm enough, I will fire up the Montgomery Ward. The compressor is still running. The top of this thing's dirty. Only got a bit of heat. Nice and warm, actually. It feels pretty good. The floor right here is a mess. There's a lot of stuff right here. There's a case for that big Kenmore that needs a switch. And then there's a 70s mid-tier model EQK with the Tecumseh AE that needs some work. Its capacitor actually blew up when I was testing it. And a bunch of smoke rolled out of it, so I have to get a capacitor for it. I'll turn this off. So now I'll attempt to start up the Montgomery Ward. There's the famous flashing filter indicator light. That Sanyo rotary wasn't necessarily the happiest to be woken up from its slumber. I believe the lowest that this thing can go is 65. I'm going to keep my hand on the thermocouple for a bit to try to get this thing somewhat cool. And this air conditioner, I believe, was in here for pretty much this whole summer. I put this one in at the beginning of the year and it stayed in. And I don't really have any intent of uninstalling or removing this thing. I restored this one. It wasn't the best restoration. This thing is really beaten up. As you can tell, there's still paint here. I did a bad job repainting the case, even though I did use the right type of shit. Whatever it is. This unit also has that funky smell that unit over there had when it was sitting. I wonder if there was some sort of dust down here or something. Oh, this thing needs to be cleaned. This thing is so dirty. Love the control panel on this thing too. Oops. Do low fan. Actually, is there a... is a 1988 model. That's 2019. And then the one upstairs is a 2005, if anyone cares to know. There's a GE fan motor and a Sanyo rotary. The GE, it's over there. I think it has a Broad Ocean fan motor and a Gree rotary, and the one upstairs has a Daewoo compressor, Daewoo rotary compressor, and a whatever in the heck it is, fan motor. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's shot bearings and it's junk. Let's go outside and have a listen to it, I believe, in hopes that this thing does not kick off when I walk away from it. I seriously bolted out here to make sure it didn't turn off, but it is still running. And this air conditioner always blows really, really hot. When it's like 90 or 80 out here, you can't stand behind this air conditioner because it's so freaking hot. Looks like the line set in there is already starting to sweat. Dude, it's dirty in here. See the compressor tag. This thing is disgusting. Oh, that heat feels warm. And this is just a GM Frigidaire WCI deal going on here. This is the best running air conditioner in the whole garage. Actually, no, the GE is, but back when I had the Climatrol in there, this was the best running air conditioner I had in the whole garage. It's one of my better ones that I have too. Really like how that compressor sounds. It kind of has that lower pitch rumble of like a LG rotary, but it's a lot quieter. It's not as loud as an LG rotary, and it doesn't shake as much to the point where it vibrates the whole entire air conditioner. And a good point to show that this thing doesn't vibrate the whole entire air conditioner is the front guard is on this thing is loose, and it will certainly vibrate that. I picked this unit up really early this year out of a abandoned storefront. I did take this thing home, saved it. So, almost didn't get this air conditioner because I didn't know about it. It would have gotten most likely scrapped or junked. And this was one of my dream air conditioners to own as well. Oh, that heat feels so good. Feel the nice cool air getting sucked in from your side. Probably gonna turn the garage into a freezer. Surprised the compressor stayed on for as long as it did. It didn't turn off already. This thing's quiet too. I can barely hear it. Both the air conditioners on this level of the garage are quiet. And that little rattling noise you hear is the vent damper in there that's broken. It just kind of flaps in there and stays open. Probably kills its efficiency too. Something else that I find ironic about this air conditioner is that it claims to be high efficiency, but this thing is anything but high efficiency. I believe this air conditioner, out of all the ones I own, uses the most energy. Well, it's starting to get dusty up here too. Maybe if I had a reciprocating compressor, it might be a bit better. That refrigerant is really noisy.